Parking counts, we do those parking counts based on employees and number of students. So I followed up with the developer to get an accurate number of what they expect for teachers, students, other employees, and the parking counts are based on that. Some of the concerns that you've raised, we can try to address with maybe like a path or a drive-through lane between the two lots, but that's up to the developer on what they want to do with that.
I'm sorry, before you say anything else
Sorry.
about drive-through lane.
Sorry.
No.
Okay.
Don't even go there.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I'm putting that on the back of side of any of the development tracks,
Gotcha.
because it'll be the backyard, or
Well,
it's across
we do-
the open space of those houses, but.
Understand. We do our parking counts based on employees and standards for Lancaster County. So everything is based on those standards.
I'll ask again about the north side of proposed building 1 with the preliminary grading shown here that's pushing water back into the neighborhood and also off into the DOT right of way. How do you,
The DOT right-of-way, I know that we had a swale that goes to an existing drop inlet right near, there's a vegetated buffer, and it is not, it's, I believe, less than 1/10 of an acre that goes off. I can't remember off the top of my head. Like I said before, we try to limit as much as we can from flowing off as possible, and we can achieve that by adding yard inlets to get it around as much as possible. And we can add yard inlets that aren't shown on there. With the change in the lines and everything, design-wise, grading kind of stopped. It's adjusted with everything, but it's a lot of rework. So we will go back and look at this based on these changes and redesign it to keep as much stormwater in that pond as possible and not going off-site.
What's the required slope in this situation? Required maximum allowable slope?
Off the top of my head, I think maximum allowable slopes 2-to-1. I don't believe we have any 2-to-1 slopes on site. I think they're 3-to-1 max. And we try to have less slope than that.
Okay,
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
That's max.
Not my section
Gotcha.
of review, sorry.
all right. Thank you, Zach. Ms. Tankover,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
nice time up.
I'm sorry.
This is your third time up, remember?
Okay, well, there was a point of order that
Go right
redirected a lot of
Go right
things. So in my questions earlier, asking why it wasn't notated for the cross-section that's a part of our UDO in Appendix B, that isn't notated on the plan. So there's that. And then also there isn't improved open space or common open space that's usable. That's also not called out, and it's not listed in the notes to cover that with text either. So those are two UDO things, in my opinion, that this would qualify that are not being met, that are not notated on these plans that were submitted for our approval. So on those grounds, I don't agree with this plan. I also have to vote with how I have peace of mind and how I sleep at night. This is in my district. There's just so much wrong with it and a lack of trust, but the traffic concerns are a huge problem. And we are appointed and volunteer our time to be a part of this commission. And I think that we're not paid, we're just civil servants, and we're trying to help our community as a whole, and being it feels a little bullied and forced into a decision that if we're not willing to make, I don't appreciate those comments. So I just feel like that needs to be said too. Thank you.
Understood.
Thank you, Ms. Tankover. Mr. Patterson,
So I guess directed toward, I don't know whether it could be the applicant or the engineer, but you've heard the residents' concerns about buffer zones. What I heard the engineer say that they would go back and take a look at a way to more appropriately and efficiently manage the stormwater from the slopes running off. Is the applicant willing and able to take a look at also during that process, the buffer zone? We've got the highway overlay, corridor overlay buffer on two sides, to increase that to the other sides to try to protect these residents' investment in the future. And if this were to go forward, is this something they should continue to get this work done to resubmit? Or that's a point, that's a question for the chairperson.
The chairperson would make this statement to you if you wish to continue this.
I'm not saying I think the applicant would need to continue.
The applicant can ask for, or
They can ask for a
continuance,
withdrawal.
but you've got a vote, a motion on the floor.
Okay.
But you have a motion on the floor. If you wish to make it continuous, or continue it to a later date, that's your prerogative. You made the motion to approve the subdivision. So, is there something different from that? Did I answer your question?
I didn't understand it.
What's that?
I didn't understand it. Oh, did you understand?
Well, he's saying, I made the motion to approve.
If he wishes
And
to
there's a second.
continue, if he wishes to make that motion to continue this to a later date, he has that prerogative. Since he made the motion, if he can amend his motion.
Okay.
Right.
Chairman Dees,
Yes, Mr. Jennings.
this is a preliminary plat. We cannot defer it. The applicant can request to defer it, but the planning commission cannot.
That was my understanding. That's why I asked the question.
You can engage with the applicant and ask them if they're willing to ask for continuance and go to the next meeting.
That was my intention.
We have a motion, I'm sorry, we have a motion on the floor.
We have a motion on the floor.
We need to deal with that.
Needs to be addressed.
Okay?
We have a motion to approve
The
by
motion,
Mr. Patterson.
the motion can be withdrawn or
We have a-
it can go to a
And we have a
vote.
second from Ms. Tinklenberg.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Tinklenberg's second, of course, was to bring it to the floor. Your motion was to approve.
Mm-hmm.
You can amend your motion, you
Anything?
can withdraw your motion,
Any more debate?
or we can continue
Any
on.
further debate?
So I guess I'm confused with parliamentary procedure in that we have a motion that needs to be dealt with, but therefore the applicant can request for continuance. But the motion on the floor has to be dealt with first, correctly?
The motion on the floor can be amended,
It can be
By a
amended by
motion to
member
amend.
of the commission,
right? The motion can be amended.
not by an outsider.
I understand that.
So if you are asking if the applicant would be willing to continue and you want to make an amendment to your motion, you would say, I'd like to make an amendment to my motion, and convert it from approval to continuance to the next meeting. Ms. Tinklenberg would then have the opportunity to either agree or disagree.
Right?
If she disagreed to amend the motion, then another member would have the opportunity to second that motion. Then you
Right.
would vote on the amendment, which would change it,
Right?
Yes.
and
then
then
the
you would
main
vote on the amended, if the amendment passed, you would then vote on the amended motion.
Yes.
Correct. But before I would be willing to amend my motion, I would want to know whether the applicant is willing to continue it.
So, I
And
would
that's
ask-
why I turned to
yes,
the applicant, and then I was called back.
I see.
So would you ask the applicant if they're willing to continue this?
You turned and pointed at me and said, this question is for you.
Okay, so,
And I answered the question best I do.
okay, so is the applicant willing to continue this to the next meeting to do the work that we've discussed thus far?
Yeah, if we can get the feedback so what we've done up until this point is we've taken the feedback that was given to us based on the plan that we submitted, and all of the comments that were given to us, we've addressed, right? So if that's the next step for you guys to give us another round of comments, then, I mean, I think we don't have a choice, do we?
I'd like to say something when I can.
Mr. Patterson, you were discussing this with him.
So,
He asked a
that's a yes.
question.
So you've heard the conversation in the room tonight, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you're willing to continue to the next?
If
To
he
the
has
next
an
meeting.
opportunity to speak, I'm sure he will.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Now, debate is still open, and Ms. Henson has something to
I
say.
just wanted to say, I think it would be a very good idea for you to have a meeting or something and talk with these people that are here tonight, and try to reach something, something agreeable and make them feel safe. They don't feel safe. And that would be very important, because we want the people of Lancaster County to feel safe.
Absolutely.
We have to live here, y'all sort of in and out maybe, I don't know if you live here or not, but we're Lancaster County, and we want it to be a safe place, and everybody feels comfortable as they can,
Understood.
and that would be a great idea.
Thank you, Ms. Henson. Okay. A motion on the floor to approve.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to extend my motion
Mr. Patterson,
to continue this to our next meeting.
The next meeting will be August 20th.
August the what?
August the 20th.
20. Okay. All right, there is a motion on the floor to amend the original motion to continue this case, I'm gonna call it, until the August 2024 meeting.
I originally seconded that, but I will not second this, so I don't know what is appropriate
It
here.
would be
but-
open for anyone else to second.
Okay.
And if it fails with a second, without a
I have a
second.
motion to amend, do I have a second?
I second it.
I have a second from Ms. Henson. All right, we have a motion and a second to amend. Is there any further discussion on this item before we go further?
To clarify your vote, you need to vote on the amendment first, right? Thank you for helping me out.
Thank you. All right, at this point, we will call for a roll call vote on the amendment. The amendment is to continue SD 2023, 1869 Barberville Commercial until August 20, 2024 meeting.
On the motion to amend, Alan Patterson,
For?
Yakima Curitan,
For.
Judiana Tinklenberg,
Against?
Shelley Richards,
For.
Jason Cavalier,
4.
Chairman Dees.
4.
And Ms. Henson.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see her, I'm going around the table. Sheila Henson,
For.
The motion to amend is passed by a vote of 6-1. If you will call the roll, we will vote on the main motion as amended.
you can find a place to write it. Run it out.
Exactly.
Stay serious.
I said the
Mr. Chair, just from my own understanding, so we're voting on the main motion as amended, so,
Motion to defer till August 20th.
but it was a motion to approve, but
The motion to approve that was made by Mr. Patterson and seconded by Ms. Tinklenberg is the motion that we're voting on as amended.
We amended it to a
We
deferral.
amended that motion, but that motion to approve stands, and it is the motion as approved that we're voting on right now.
So the motion,
We're voting to
we amended it to a deferral.
It was amended, the amendment has been voted on.
Right.
The main motion has to be voted on, as amended.
The amendment was to defer it.
And that, the amendment was to continue it until it's August 20th.
Right.
Now,
Continue
we're voting on the main motion, which was amended.
Right.
Please call the roll.
Alan Patterson,
For?
Nikema Kirison,
For.
Judeanna Tinklenberg,
Against.
Sheila Henson,
For.
Shelley Richards,
For.
Jason Cavalier,
4.
Chairman Dees.
Four. The motion to approve as amended is passed by a vote of 6-1.
So the effect is that this will be back on the agenda August 20th.
Back on the agenda, August the 20th.
Staff will take the opportunity to meet with the applicant this week to give them instructions on what to bring back based on your conversations and on the comments from the neighborhood. One of the things we'll talk about is getting a meeting with the neighbors, as the planning commission suggested, so that you can get all of their concerns and either answer them or say, this is beyond what you're willing to do. Bring that back in August 20th. The vote will go from there.
Understood.
So that meeting will happen prior to our next meeting, so we can have those.
I would
Discussions.
recommend that.
Okay.
We can't force that,
Sure.
but I'm going to tell you that my opinion is that if you come in here without having met with some people in the neighborhood, it's not gonna be a good day for you.
Understood.
Okay.
Put an invitation to everyone,
Right.
not just one.
What I would recommend is that if there's a lot of people here that are interested, before you leave this building, that one of you takes a piece of paper out there and starts writing down email addresses.
That's an excellent idea.
And if you would like to do that at this time, a lot of these people are through for the afternoon because we're going into some road names only. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with Barberville Road.
Time to meet them out there.
So the item that was on the table is being continued, just so you know, there's been no official approval or denial. You have another opportunity to talk to the developer. Y'all go out in the lobby and do that while we finish up the rest of the agenda. Is that cool?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll give you a minute to get there.
Yeah, I gotta do all that.
Oh, you gotta do I think it's gonna go smoothly.
Don't jinx it.
We don't want to jinx Came back, knock on wood. It's laminated. Thank you. I think it's still good.
Mr. Dees, we need to leave it cracked, it's still a public meeting. We can't go behind closed doors.
Gotcha.
We need to leave it cracked. Oh, okay.
I do.
I wouldn't have, I you said that.
Yeah, you get it. That's what, I'll give you the short version.
Yeah, that's what's
I had, for some reason, I didn't do description. I don't know what we do.
No, so that got.
Exactly.
I have the
Oh,
correct thing.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we passed papers before.
Miss Bryan, we are still on the record.
Yes,
Okay, are you gonna present or do you want me to present?
I'm going to present.
Okay,
I'm making a note for Mr. Dees. We have a code section that was noted incorrectly on the agenda. Yeah, and it should be 6.11.4.g. I will also speak to this to the commissioners. So commissioners, on your agenda, all three of the new road name applications, on the agenda itself, not in the staff report, but on the agenda, I noted the wrong UDO section. I don't know where I copied and pasted that from. I can't explain. It's a section 9 on the agenda. The actual code section is in the staff report is correct. It's section 6.11.4.g of the UDO, deals with new road names. All right. First is NRN 2024-1210 Griffin Cove. This is a private drive. Pull up the staff report. Griggs Griffin owns property on a private driveway off of South Potter Road. Forward this. The red line there is the private drive that goes back to these two parcels. These parcels were subdivided off of a parent tract. The three parcels that access off it are mentioned on the head of the staff report. It's the red line goes right across the main parcel, which is 9801, and then the two smaller rectangular parcels all the way down at the bottom there are the other two parcels. So Griggs Griffin wants to build on this new lot they've created. In order to do that, this will be the third house accessing off of this driveway. So per our UDO, the driveway needs to be named. Applicants secured approval of their request from other landowners whose property adjoins and may access this driveway. That's attached to the staff report. Sandra has reviewed the requested name against county records and has noted that the first choice, Griffin Cove, is sufficiently different from existing names to avoid confusion. Mailed notices were sent to adjacent properties to observe due diligence, although these are not required by the statute. No calls or written comments have been received in opposition to the name. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Any questions?
I just swore we voted on that last time.
Not this one.
Not this one?
We've had several recently, but
You
this
heard it-
isn't.
You probably heard it at some point in a workshop, maybe, I don't know.
I know, I was thinking it was, what I remembered was the driveway. And I was just thinking, that we voted on that, but maybe not.
There's one down near USCL we voted on last month.
That might be.
Very similar.
Yeah.
That might be
Looks
what it
similar.
was.
Mr. Chair, is, like when we name a road or in this process, is there a certain number, I see, since there's 3 houses, but can any number of houses be added to that driveway that's meandering through that
No.
parcel?
There is a limit of 5 parcels accessing on a private drive.
Okay.
UDO limits it to
Alright.
5. So that big tract in the middle there, they may be able to further subdivide, cut a couple more parcels off of that, but that would be the maximum
Okay.
for a
all right,
private drive.
all right.
Anything else? Okay. This is relatively close to my house. I live on South Potter Road. And of course, I know the landowner. I know the boy that wanted to build a house. I don't have any financial deals with any of them. So even though I know them and it is close to my house, I'm not going to recuse myself from it. So, Commissioners, you have before you new road name, 2024-1210 Griffin Cove. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve, Ms. Hudson.
Second.
Second from everybody. I think that's action. Any discussion? Hearing none, we have a roll call vote, please.
Jason Cavalier,
4.
Yakima Curitan, Judiana Tinklenberg,
4.
Michelle Richards,
For,
Sheila Henson,
for,
Alan Patterson,
For.
Chairman Dees.
Four. Motion passes by a vote of 7-0. This does not go any further. It's once the certification documents are signed and passed on to the authorities that need, like the public court and people like that.
And this time I do have those with me tonight, so we can sign them before you leave.
Good for you, and we've got a multitude of witnesses. Next item. New road name, 2024-1251, Hills Valley Way. And Brian, you look.
Okay. Again, this is a landowner who owns a parcel located off Saddle Club Road. In order to secure a building permit for the lot, his is the third lot now accessing off this. The shared private driveway that accesses the lot must be named per our UDO. The applicant secured approval of their request from landowners whose property adjoins or accesses the driveway. The outline in blue there is the applicant's property. There are two parcels behind it to the right that access off it. The two parcels in front actually access directly off Saddle Club Road, so they're not involved in this change. I received one phone call from the property owner that has a big tract at the upper left corner there. He was concerned that this was expanding the driveway. I said, no, it is not extending it. It is simply naming it so that the existing lots can be addressed off it for emergencies. That was the only phone call we received regarding this. Mailed notices were sent to adjacent properties to observe due diligence, although these were not required by statute. As I said, the only call I received was from that gentleman, and no written comments have been received in opposition to the name. And staff recommends approval.
Any questions? None. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Have a motion from
Second.
Mr. Patterson, second from Ms. Henson. Any discussion? Hearing none. We have a roll call vote, please.
Jason Cavalier,
For.
Yukima Curitan, Juliana Tinkenberg,
For.
Michelle Richards,
for,
Sheila Henson,
for,
Alan Patterson,
For.
Chairman Dees.
Four. The motion passed by a vote of 7-0. And those two will get signed away tonight, the lady said.
Got
And the last, new road name, 2024-1356. This is a July group submittal from December, I imagine.
Yeah, Sandra Burton submitted these. These came in through plats, civil plans and preliminary plats. And with the case of preliminary plats, if the plat has not yet been approved, occasionally they're still working their way through our process. If that ends up not being approved, the names will then kind of go back into rotation or be available again. They'll not stay on the list to provide conflict. So. All right, so you have the list before you with the application. Most of these are in Harris Mills, some are in Wilson Creek, a couple in Roseland, a couple in Edgewater, and there's one that was submitted on a minor plat, which Sandra included. We will do a certificate for that, but because the landowner owns all of the lots, we didn't need a petition for that. So Sandra included it in this list. And I have the list up here too. But all of these have been reviewed per our UDO standards and per the requirements of road names. Sandra has found all of them do not conflict with any existing road names, and she has signed off on these to be approved.
Okay. Any questions? Do we have a motion?
to make a motion,
Second.
To do what?
to change, to these road names.
I'll second it.
Motion, recessive to approve, any seconds? Do I have a second?
Who's second?
I seconded it.
Thank you,
Oh,
Ms.
sure.
Kirsten. Any discussion? We have a roll call vote, please.
Jason Cavalier,
Four.
Yokimi Kiritan,
4.
Juliana Tinklenberg,
4?
Michelle Richards,
4.
Sheila Henson,
4.
Alan Patterson,
4.
Chairman Dees.
Or, this motion also passes 7-0, and we will take care of those shortly. All right, we're down to a couple of last minute items. An overview of last month's, or excuse me, next month's agenda.
I can speak to that. We have one rezoning. River Chase Section 2 is scheduled to come back. We're still waiting on the rest of their revision. There's a text amendment for the town of Kershaw regarding LED lighted signs. And we have a text amendment for our UDO regarding small animals in residential districts, so it's a clarification of the UDO. We may also have,
10 annexations.
oh, okay, we'll also have the group of annexations. Was that Heath Springs or Kershaw?
Kershaw.
That's what we have scheduled. I'm still waiting to hear on one other application. We might have one other item, but
One other item is the one that was continued tonight.
Right.
Will be on that
right,
agenda.
yeah.
Is that all small animals or just chickens?
Technically all
Small animals except for dogs and cats.
Small livestock.
So the chicken side.
So
The
livestock.
chicken density chart will get discussed.
You will get a chicken density.
Wait, I like this one, we need popcorn.
I got chickens and goats, y'all be careful on this one.
Uh-oh.
I'll bring your coop jokes.
You might get in trouble, you might get some letters.
Is there a limit on acreage for chickens?
Yeah.
I live on 235, so I should be good,
You're,
right?
you're good.
Okay.
You're good. You're way good.
Your chicken density is fine.
We don't have chickens yet.
There's
but
also
I'll get them.
rooster, there's also, rooster density is a whole nother ball of wax.
I have
All right, anything else?
I have 7 roosters. I have to get some.
Williams, do you have anything, Doc?
No, sir, I think we're ready to go home for the
You done well. Thank you, Ms. Harden.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
I'd like to make one comment. Ms. Harden, thank you so much for your wonderful bringing all of us back and reminding us on what we're supposed to be voting on. We might not like it, but that's the letter of the law, so.
I do, I will apologize to Ms. Tinklenberg if she felt bullied. And since you used the word, I'm going to assume you felt bullied. My intent is to do exactly what Ms. Richardson said, is to point out, because I stand for the county as a whole, that there are requirements that we have to meet. And my goal is to not set you guys up for being appealed, not give yourself a really good section for appeal. The continuation is something that will give them the opportunity to talk to the neighborhood. If the neighborhood's still not happy and they can't make them happy, then we'll hear about that next time. The practice in the past of allowing conditional approvals with minor amendments to come in 60 days was my biggest concern, because the points that you had, while they were valid, there are ones that we have done similar things to in the 60-day conditional approval, which is why my recommendation was conditional approval. I don't know that we would have held up an appeal based on my experience in court with the South Carolina planning laws. But if you guys get to the next meeting and you all decide that you really just don't want this subdivision, find a spot in the code, stick on it, and you'll be good.
It's not really that I don't think anybody don't want it. We try to
Yeah.
listen to the public.
Let me rephrase.
Well, I'm sorry, and this was also piggybacking up, just 30 days ago, we unanimously denied the exact same
Right.
plan. So it's,
But they did extensive work on that plan in 30 days.
Yeah,
They
they did.
changed
They
it.
did. They did extensive
And
work.
if they were to come back again, if you denied them today and they came back, they have the legal right to come back again, as
Sure.
many times. And I would not be recommending anything if they made no changes. I would not recommend anything different than what y'all did, if there were no changes. With the changes that they made, everything that I could
They
find
came
was checked
within-
off.
They came within the, where it's supposed to be.
If you find something else, now, I will tell you right now. Is it still on record?
Yes.
Yes, it's still on the record. It's hard to do a 432-page evaluation, going through every line of the code. We do the best we can. We're gonna miss some things. If y'all catch them and I don't, more power to you. That'll give you your leg up.
Well, I promise you, I'm gonna be looking at those slopes. I do not think they are 2 to 1 or less. I just,
Well, and-
looking at the real estate, I will get out my engineering scale, I have my own stuff, I can blow it up and look at it, and we'll be investigating that.
They're nice enough to send me a digital of it.
Well, I mean, they do the same thing, I'm saying, no, it's, I have bad eyes, so I just put it on the copier and blow it up a little bit.
They're
So I-
afraid to listen to
No,
me.
it's one of those, yes, I
Okay,
was
we're
like,
still on the record, let's
Yeah.
either finish up and
Yep.
get off the record or
Motion to adjourn.
open the motion back up.
Second.
Motion and a second to
Second.
adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. You can turn that machine.